Some people do get fucking upset, especially there were folks on the show that had been, it was like dudes that had been tattooing for 30 plus years and had never been talked to in the way that the judges were talking to them, and they would like lose their minds.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was funny. Like, it was entertaining, but I felt like they were kind of getting in their own way when they're like not listening to what the critiques are.
Lose your shit on camera. Like, don't lose your shit.
I do enjoy watching someone lose their shit on camera. It's very entertaining to me.
I agree. And I think
that would have been
everyone else does too.
Yeah.
And that's why it does well. Because I think if you're just getting critiqued and you're just like, thank you, I totally understand.
Right.
Boring. It has come to my attention that a lot of you come here, watch the content, and don't subscribe. And that fact has been proven by those around me with a number figure of 90%. What's going on? You come here every week, you watch, just hit subscribe. That's it. That's all we want. Don't be a dick. Just hit the button. Welcome to our first live stream. What? We have our wonderful guests here, Katie and Jesse, visiting us from Little Rock, Arkansas.
Hello.
Danny, do you feel the excitement?
I do. I feel it in my tummy.
What I want to let the viewers know, if you have any questions, leave it in the comment. If they are good enough, they might get brought up. If they're not, they'll completely get ignored.
Yeah, 100%.
Fair is fair. Those are the rules.
Our time is valuable.
Fred has spoken. So you haven't been to Fort Lauderdale before? Neither of you?
No, I haven't, and I'm excited that we're. Yeah, we've been to Tampa for the tattoo convention. We don't really like come to Florida very much.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about Miami. That's where
It was kind of hard to get to, Florida. A lot of people will say, you know?
It was a long flight. It was a long couple of flights.
Yeah,
but we're here.
Are you traveling a lot, doing conventions, all that?
This is this time of the year I'm traveling quite a bit. I kind of go through spells of where I'm more chill and then I'm motivated to travel, but I need like the time of the year where I'm resting. So when I am ready to travel, I'm doing it. So
it'll be like seasonal for you.
Kind of, yeah. Like last weekend I did I think you were there too. The New York,
Oh yeah, I was there for a day.
You were there for a day. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd seen on Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, he was there. Yeah. So I did that last weekend. And then in a few weeks, I'm going to be guesting at Eden, Deanna's shop. And so it's every few weeks, I've got something going on until the fall.
Cool. And do you like that? You like traveling?
I like it. I have a toddler at home, so that's the hardest part of it. Yeah. But I think it's really good. I explained to my toddler, I'm like, this is an investment in my career. So this is, I'm like, sit down.
Stand up.
No, stand up. It's important to travel and stay motivated and meet new people within the industry. And I think it's good to avoid burnout doing that sort of stuff. And I don't know, like especially going to different shops, seeing how they do their thing, working conventions. So I try to make it a priority and do some traveling every year for sure.
I mean, I think that's great, especially like you said for burnout. Whenever we see, artists here kind of, falling into that a little bit, I'll be like, go travel somewhere. Get out of here.
Yeah, go do a guest spot.
Yeah.
Go do something.
Right. Because sometimes you need to break up the routine or like you said, check out what other people are doing or like go to a big convention surrounded by artists and get inspired, get tattooed, whatever.
Because burnout is you do kind of have to work to keep it from consuming you in a way, the burnout feeling. Because everybody kind of like, you'll be working like crazy, you plateau, and you have to push through that a little bit. And I think it's important to not confuse getting burnt out with reaching a plateau. And if you are feeling like, oh, I'm in this routine and whatever, sometimes you just have to kind of push through that plateau. Traveling's the best for that, for tattooers, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's like being depressed. It's like very similar, right?
Yeah.
It's like the only way to get out of it is to do the last thing you want to do, and that's
Yeah.
like work and get out there and not be on
Yeah.
the couch.
And how many tattooers are introverted and they're like, oh, I don't want to go do a thing.
Yeah.
Like so many. And you
Like
do have
all
to
of
kind of, like all of them.
Right.
They're all introverted freaks. But you do have to kind of push through that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a huge advocate for like traveling, getting out there. So it's always great to hear. Are you traveling as well?
Yeah, yeah. I don't do as many conventions, but right now we have a big build we're doing with the shop.
Nice.
So
Like construction?
Yeah,
Cool.
he's kind of staying put at the shop. This is the
Holding
great
it
thing
down.
with co-owning.
Well, let's get into that. How do you guys know each other?
and she's my mentor.
He was my apprentice 10 years ago almost, which is crazy to think about that. He had walked into the shop that I was working in. I didn't own the shop,
Yeah.
but he wanted an apprenticeship, and the owner of the shop at the time was like, hey, would you want to apprentice him? He had a great portfolio.
The owner.
In a good fake attitude.
He had a really good, we figured it out in a week. Yeah. We were
I
like,
didn't let my hair
wait.
grow out. I
Oh,
never
wow.
had hair in my life. and
It
I
looked
was like,
better with hair?
I looked like more of a nice guy.
Yeah,
With-
no, I was
with
just
a little bit
curious
of hair,
like,
no.
why you grew it out. Yeah.
Well,
Was your like head tattooed?
no,
not yet.
Not yet. But then I was like Mexican as fuck, and then everyone at that shop was like white.
I know the feeling.
Oh.
Though.
And then everyone at the shop was white. So I was
White.
like, I went in there for an apprenticeship, and then I went there with like pictures on my phone of like drawings I had done some years ago.
Yeah.
And then they told my ass to go home. They
That's
told my
true.
ass to
Like,
go home and go
where's the
build a
real portfolio? We don't want to look at your
So
phone.
I know what I'll do. I'll grow my fucking hair out.
Check out this screenshot.
Yeah, check out the screenshot.
A little
So,
blurry.
on my cracked ass phone.
Yeah.
He did grow a beard briefly because every dude in the shop had a beard, and he's like, "Okay, I should
Yeah.
grow a beard. Let me
yeah.
like."
I
and then
like that.
Do a little comb.
Yo,
Yeah.
You read the room.
Yeah, I
he
read
read the
room.
room.
Yeah.
He did.
You're like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
You really
I
did
pulled the whole
though.
switcheroo on him.
And then we were like, "Wait a second,
wait a second.
where's that guy at?"
Yeah. It worked
I
though.
like that. That's like old school shit. I don't see that as much anymore.
Yeah. Well,
It's like you.
I wanted it.
You're like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'll grow a beard. I'll grow my hair out. I'll do this. Like almost kind of being sneaky about
Yeah.
it. you
It
know?
really is.
I had to finagle that.
Yeah.
It really
I had to
is.
Finagle it.
That's the word of the day.
Yeah. Finagle.
Finagle.
Finagle that.
Finagle.
But we worked together pretty quickly. I was like, oh, "Okay, cool."
We still tattooing the same amount of space.
I know we still like our
It's the same
booths are
amount of-
right next to each other, but he and I work really well together in that we both, it's so cheesy, but we genuinely enjoy being at the shop. And like we can also kind of check any sort of issues or whatever we've got on our mind that's outside of work, we can kind of check that at the door and then go in and have a good time at the tattoo shop. So it's been cool working with another person that has a similar mentality. So that he and I work really well together in that way. And it's easy,
I don't
which
take
is
anything
nice.
serious.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. My favorite relationships professionally, just in life in general, are the ones that tend to be easy. And that's kind of how our low maintenance, our friendship, our professional relationship, it's just fucking easy.
Now, how long did it take to like get to that point? So, I mean, what I got so far is you walked in, you're like, I'll be back. You grew a beard.
That happened.
The owner was like, I don't want to work with him. Do you?
Yeah.
That's what I have so far. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I came back.
Yeah.
I came back with like 8 drawings. I
Okay.
came back with like 8.
So you printed them out from your phone?
Yeah, it's printed
He printed off the screenshots.
With the king clothes.
Still a little blurry. But you had like pencil
They were the
drawings
second
of portraits.
They were the
and-
second stop on the shop. So
Yeah, we
the
weren't
first
even
place
the
was
first
closed.
choice.
Yeah,
And I want him to answer it, not you. What kind of quality were these drawings?
they were horrible.
They're really bad.
They were
Yeah,
horrible.
yeah.
Well, the first round of drawings, they were all. I'd went to the medical field like after high school or whatever.
That's how bad they were.
Yeah, they were like high school.
Okay.
They were like 12th grade
Right.
art class bad. Like
You brought it like a clay pot.
like I tattooed them black and gray, and they're like Prisma drawings.
Okay, yeah.
But no, they sent my ass home, and they sent my ass home, and I got the drawing. And I cooked up like 8 what I thought at the time were like badass drawings, and then I went back, and then it was like a completely different talk once I went back to that portfolio. All I had to do was print them off. All I had to print them off on high quality.
What was that talk like? Like, you come in, you have your drawings.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there?
I had to sell it. I was like, how the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, hey, how are you?
That's the thing. He paired very well his ability to draw, but also salesmanship.
Right.
And gosh, like I love to see it because I don't see it very often anymore. I don't think. But there was clearly a desire. He really, really wanted to tattoo, and he was expressing that. And then also he had a natural ability that we were able to see in the drawings and the salesmanship. It was just kind of all there.
Yeah, now I don't. Now looking back, I've looked back at some of those drawings, and I'm like, y'all are wild. Y'all are wild. Y'all already gambled on that.
What kind of conditions were set for you?
For like,
or like expectations.
for like an apprenticeship.
Like, yo, we're gonna take you on, but this is what.
Well,
we need
I had to hang out. I hung out for like a month or 2 before they even told me.
That you were like for
that I
real
was, like,
hired.
for real hired.
So they like
and-
just keep coming back.
Well, I was.
Hang out, draw. We want to get to know you
Yeah.
before committing to, okay, you're
Yeah.
going to be an apprentice here.
And
That was the first step, is we welcomed you into, cool, then come hang out.
yeah,
You're
that-
allowed to be inside.
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
And they tried to tell my ass like, oh, you can pop up like 1 or 2 times a week. I was like, man, I'm gonna be here every day.
Yeah, that's
like,
good.
I'm gonna be here every day. And yeah, it just rolled like that. It didn't work.
As soon as we all kind of agreed, like, cool, I'll apprentice you, that's when I had gone to Inkmaster for the first time. So I was like, cool, yeah, we
Like,
could,
how
let's do
long
this
have you been
apprentice.
tattooing at this point?
Probably not technically
5
long
or
enough
6?
to apprentice somebody,
But
but
you're already like stupid good.
like 5 or 6 years.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
But you'd already been like, killing
People
it.
open a shop
That's
9
true.
months now.
it's kind of
Yeah.
that is true. It's kind of a different
Fresh out
a
of
different thing
school.
now, but yeah, and it was something where when I had met him, I'm like, okay, this could work, and we hadn't. It's been we only recently took on an apprentice less than a year ago. It's taken almost 10 years for me to be like, cool, I
You
want
need
to
to
apprentice
recover.
somebody again, because it really is a big responsibility. And you have to watch them, obviously, and I'm accountable for what he's doing.
Right.
And but we were like, cool, yeah, I'll go ahead and apprentice you. And then I immediately left town
Yeah.
to film the show.
First
And he was
test.
like,
I was like,
Home Alone for the weekend.
yeah. I'd been up there for like, I think 3 months, and I had just tattooed like a pound of flesh arm, and I was right about to start tattooing people, and then they went and took an interview, and then they rolled out, and I was like, oh shit. Like,
Like they rolled out? Was there multiple people?
So it was me and then the owner of the shop that we were
okay.
that we were at.
Were you excited?
I was. It was
How long ago was it?
the first time that I was on the show was it was either 2015 or 2016.
Okay.
I've been on it just too many times.
Right, like
and
what, 100 times?
like I've probably 1,000 times.
Yeah, I figured.
But yeah, I think it was like 20. I feel like every couple years I'm like going back on the show. And I mean, and truly, as if they continue asking me, I'll always say it. It's about that time.
Yeah.
now.
Tell me about the first time, because I'm sure that was full of emotion.
The first time's crazy because it's just scary and I don't know what to expect. But it's also like I loved watching reality shows. So I'm
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be hilarious. Like what?
I
but
get to be one of those. people.
yeah. I had not seen Inkmaster specifically until the night when I was in the hotel room. It was like the night before filming, and I was like, let me watch a couple episodes really quick just to like let me see
Smart.
what's going
Smart. That's
Um,
why that's your mentor.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
You would have raw
I
dogged
would,
it.
yeah, I would just walk up in there.
But I'm like, let me check this out really quick. And I was like, okay, this is like, I loved RuPaul's Drag Race. So I'm like, this is really similar to Drag
And the
Race.
Kardashians.
And the Kardashians and whatever. But yeah, so prepared the night before, kind of, not really. But it was,
How
I
do
mean,
you prepare for
you
something?
did, I know, like you really, my main thing, I learned pretty quickly. I'm like, have a good sound bite. Do your best tattooing, obviously. Like, try to do the best tattoo that you can, even if different styles would be thrown at me and I'm like, ooh, I don't really tattoo that style. Let me just do this more tratty. And then I would do that, and it was
phrases.
no, I never it was fun.
That's not true. That's not true.
I like had some shit written down like, oh, that's fucking crazy. No, like, no, but it would.
Both a hole.
You learn pretty quickly, like when you're one-on-one with a producer, that, and especially after watching the show, you realize if I'm like explaining something in a really long, drawn-out way, probably not going to get aired, or they may take like a snippet of it or something. So it's really about like a quick sound bite, something that's concise. So if you can go on the show and like do nice tattoos and have good sound bites, even if you don't win, like it's good.
Yeah.
Like the main thing is like have fun with it if you can. And so it was scary because I didn't really know like what to expect, but it was also fun. And the hardest part at that time was sharing. It was like 25 of us sharing like 2 bathrooms and all sleeping like in 2 rooms, basically.
I got IBS.
It
Ain't gonna work for me.
If you got IBS, it is not a good situation. But and then the hours are really fucking long. But it's to me, it's one of the best things that you can do for your career if you use it as a platform to kind of launch you and you have a sense of humor about it a little bit, you know.
And then what do you think were some big like lessons you took away from that? 'Cause I'm sure it like kind of maybe not like almost brought you to the next level of your career, you know, some growth, right?
I think every time that I've been in situations where I'm being critiqued, it has made me a better tattooer for sure. Right. And whether I'm being critiqued by the judges on the show or even just the other artists, the people I'm competing against, we all kind of form a community in a way and we'll ask each other for help. And that is a really beautiful experience with Ink Master. So just learning, just watching the same with traveling, watching other people tattoo, talking to other tattooers, learning. That's such like being on the show is a very unique way of getting to do that. So if you can go on the show too and just kind of not have an ego about it and not get mad when people are critiquing you and finding flaws in your work, if you can let your ego kind of go, it can be a great thing.
Right. Which I get, but I'm also like, oh, like, wouldn't it like do better on the show if you did get upset?
Some people do get fucking upset, especially there were folks on the show that it was like dudes that had been tattooing for 30 plus years and had never been talked to in the way that the judges were talking to them, and they would like lose their minds.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was funny. It was entertaining, but I felt like they were kind of getting in their own way when they're like not listening to what the critiques are.
Lose your shit on camera. Like, don't lose your shit.
I do enjoy watching someone lose their shit on camera. It's very entertaining to me.
I agree, and I think
that would have been
everyone else does too.
Yeah,
and that's why it does well. Because I think if you're just getting critiqued and you're just like, thank you, I totally understand.
Right.
Boring. Yeah. Get this guy out of here.
It's weird because you do kind of have to ride this line of being like, okay, I don't want to be too confrontational. Even if I disagree, I don't want to be too confrontational with the judges because they will like snap on you. And especially depending on like which judge. So, and sometimes it does turn into like a thing that can work against you strategically. So it's like, damn, like maybe I don't totally agree, but then I'm like, fuck, I don't want.
Did you get snapped on ever?
I watched many people get snapped on.
Snapping.
Maybe a few times. I tried to. What I did with the judges, if I didn't totally agree with what they were saying, I would leave it to like the interview between me and the producer for that soundbite where I'm like, fuck what he said.
Yeah.
Like that. So maybe I'll be like nice to their face in the critique, but be like, I completely disagree with that later.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's more strategic for me to do it that way.
What led to you going on like multiple times?
They would just call me back and they're like, are you available? And I'm like, I can be. It's a lot of times it's a last minute thing too. So I've got to reschedule a couple months worth of appointments and that's tough. But my clients have been really cool and they're down to, I'll just tell them to like, hey, I've got a TV thing. And they're like, okay, cool. And they'll reschedule, thankfully, which is awesome. But it's been a really great thing for me being able to put my work out there on that sort of platform. So I'll just always say yes. Unless they come at me with an idea that's like, there's no fucking way. But I don't even know what they could do for me to say no.
And I mean, at this point, you've done it, I mean, enough times to probably be a little bit more comfortable.
It's comfortable. Yeah. I know the routine.
Right.
And yeah, it's easier now. The hard part is the social. There is a little bit of a strategic game that you have to play socially off camera with the other tattooers. That's like the trickiest part anymore. Like if you, for example, if there are people that are staying up late to draw for the like challenge the next day, and this is off camera, they're all staying, like a handful of people are staying up late. I can choose, even if I'm really fucking tired and I'm like, damn, I want to draw in the morning, it would probably be more strategic for me to stay up, be in that same room with a few of the other artists, hear what they're talking about, whatever, in case they do start to strategize, which usually happens.
Yeah.
Just making myself present and trying to be in the right spots at the right time, even off camera, is fucking exhausting. Yeah. But I think it's smart to try to play it that way too.
Because what strategies can develop in a group like that?
Because you can on the show, you're given, if you win the Flash Challenge, you're given the opportunity to hand out a difficult tattoo or multiple difficult tattoos to certain people.
So you're like, let's fuck so-and-so?
Yeah, so those conversations have to happen.
Yeah.
So, if I can try to be around for some of it, that would be ideal. Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, because then it's probably harder for it to be you, right?
If I'm around, if I'm like, I'm
glad
listening.
you're here, because
yeah.
I'm just thinking that we're going to sabotage you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Let me be present for that conversation.
She's coming. We got to change it. Who's asleep?
But it literally is. It could make a difference, at least a little bit. Yeah. It's exhausting.
Did they dress you?
The first season that I was on, they were very heavy-handed. They were completely dressing some people.
Like dressing them?
Like literally putting their clothes on like
for them?
toddlers.
Yeah.
They just put their hands on changing. Yeah.
They were very heavy-handed in dressing us, some folks more than others, but they wanted like literally, but they wanted everyone to kind of have a theme. There's always, like, for the first handful of seasons, there was always a tattooer that looked like a magician guy. I don't know. He's like got a vest and a bow tie and a thing, and they yeah.
Bro, that's what I was thinking. Dave Navarro's just like, yeah, there can only be one of us. Take the vest off.
I feel like they finally understood, though, it's been in the last few seasons where they're like, okay, we're going to let people dress themselves. And it just feels so much more natural and less cartoony and ridiculous. And people can dress themselves nicely. Like they can do it and it works. So, and before it was kind of weird, kind of costumey.
Yeah. Well, I think they were still figuring the show out.
Totally.
The vibe.
Totally.
And I don't think many people were interacting with the tattoo community at the time,
Yeah.
It's like, let's get these circus animals up here.
Yeah,
and put
totally.
A bow tie on 'em.
Yeah. No, and there was always like a woman in a corset and like I don't know. It's very gimmicky in
Well,
a
it was
way.
huge introduction for the tattoo world to the others of America,
Mhm.
right?
It's so true. It's so
Right.
true.
Happening in your neighborhoods. You know,
Yeah.
it was literally like that.
Yeah, no, so I feel like the show had a way. They would always call it infotainment, or like they want us to entertain folks but also be informative, and it really
Right.
did have a way. I mean, my mom knows different styles of tattoos. You know, like
Yeah.
people's grandmas will they'll use language and I'm like, damn, like you watched the show, like you understand
Right.
whatever, and that's been a really cool thing.
They
Making
walk around
tattoos
calling
more
people canvases.
that is a side effect of the show. But it's made tattoos so accessible.
Yes.
And I mean, the majority of my clients are millennial parents with like professional jobs.
Right.
And
Love that shit.
and yeah, which is great. And it's made it accessible in a really cool way, and where people feel more comfortable coming into tattoo shops now. And I used to hear all the time, I was so intimidated to come into a shop, and I don't barely really hear that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And even as a tattooer, it was intimidating for me going into shops for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe even as recent as, 5-6 years ago, especially if it was a more traditional based shop,
Mm-hmm.
with like the older guys and stuff. You have to like remember your traditional respect rules.
Mhm.
Like, okay, like even like going or traveling with like some of the apprentices, I'm like, like if they've been tattooing longer than you give them your respect, no matter what, even if
Mhm.
they suck at tattooing, right? Be polite, this and that, this is someone's shop, whatever. Even they had the old rules, like don't open a shop till you've been tattooing 10 years. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I gotta get all those things back, so I don't sound like an idiot in front of them.
Yeah.
Don't fuck around and say tats in front of them.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
my favorite
whatever.
word.
Yeah, like that shit.
There are certain rules though, and there are some shops where you still kind of have to adhere to those rules. You're
Right.
right. Just as a way to show respect. But that can be when there is an environment where there are like rules, and if you don't know the rules exactly, then it can become really intimidating.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, they don't really want you to know the rules. So
That's
they
true.
can
That's
mess
actually.
with that.
So-
It's cooler to yell it.
Well, I feel like tattooing can be a little gatekeepy.
Yeah,
At
of course.
times, or maybe a lot gatekeepy, and in a way there's something mysterious about it that I really love. But then I love the accessibility, being able to access information too. So I think a lot of the gatekeeping stuff, with YouTube and people can get so much information now, I don't really understand the gatekeeping mentality anymore.
Well, that's how it grows when it's accessible,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's why we've seen such tremendous growth as soon as it went on TV. As soon as it became acceptable to like the everyday person. I'm right there with you. I think the mystery's cool. And
Yeah.
I think it's good to have a little mystery.
A little bit, because that's what keeps it cool. In
Right.
a way.
When it's all like out there, it's just like, okay, I don't care anymore. It's not as fun, or
Yeah.
if you think of like magic or something like that, like that's
Yeah.
what makes it fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how the fuck this is going on.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So when did you start tattooing? When she was away?
No, they made my ass wait until she
You had to
came
wait.
back.
You had to
Yeah,
wait.
and she was on for like 3. I was supposed to start tattooing like clients right before she left,
Right.
and then try to push that back like 3 months and hold it down. Top receptionist. you
Yeah.
know. Right.
Build those
So I
client
got
skills.
I got a tattoo when she came back from
Okay.
Mass Day and all that, and that shit was cool. That was like perfect timing. Like that was perfect timing. I mean, all that helped my career like crazy.
Yeah.
And then it was just fucking cool. Like I'd went in there, I was getting apprenticed, but I knew like they're like fucking great artists. But then like seeing them like, oh shit, like dang, you guys actually like made it on Ink Master. Dang, you guys made it to like the finale.
Yeah.
Like, dang, now I'm in New York and like there's a live finale and all that.
Oh, nice. You went out. You got to go?
yeah.
Cool.
It was cool as hell. It was cool as hell.
That probably like reinsured some confidence in your choice.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because at first I was like,
You know, I didn't know at first. Yeah.
I had like,
Did I choose right?
yeah, that shit was wild.
He's like feeling his long hair. He's like, I don't know if I should.
Yeah. I didn't recognize the man in the mirror. I don't think I should have been. I mean, it made me immediately busy, like immediately crazy busy.
With appointments?
Yeah, with
Okay,
like
yeah.
appointments, walk-ins, all that. And at the time, I was just, taking on damn near whatever, as long as it wasn't like color realism. Or
Were you
like
charging
back.
or was it free?
At
What'd
the
you do at the very
beginning,
beginning? Did you tattoo friends and stuff?
yeah, I
so long ago
tattooed
that I
friends
don't
and
remember?
family
Right.
for a while, and then I just started picking up like little walk-ins, and I did like shop minimum tats for a long time, and yeah, I was doing shop minimum stuff, but then we had so many people coming in, that I just kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah.
There wasn't any time to like be slow or anything, so it was pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Not everyone gets that.
Yeah, no, like it
unique.
totally like, yeah, I felt like I was on
Machines then.
yeah, machine down. 3, 2, 1. Well, when I got into it, I just dropped out of the medical field, and so then I was like, fuck, this really needs to like take off. Like I really need
Right.
to, I really need to make some money, and man, it was great.
All right. Model Citizen used to be cool before Alex started wearing it. Are you tired of being unattractive to everyone around you? Well, not anymore. With the Model Citizen apparel, you'll be beating them off with a stick. Finally, tattoo clothing that is actual quality, that I can wear around and feel good. For real though, the quality of these clothes is top notch. This is like nothing you've ever seen before with a tattoo company. This isn't some Gildan bullshit. These are quality, hand-picked clothing. They have everything from vintage styles, oversized clothes, modern tees. Go to themodelcitizen.com. Get them before Alex does.
I've had back pieces that I've been able to do in about like 4 sessions or whatever. With this one, it was like 7 pieces. Well, it was the 7 wonders of the world, and each one was super complicated. And then in my head, I told him, I was like, well, man, some of these are going to take a full day each, like just
Yeah,
do
yeah.
one piece. And I was like, but some of these, I might be able to do 2 of them. And that was not the
You're
case.
wrong.
Yeah, I was very wrong.
Right.
We had 7 long-ass sessions.
Yeah.
And my client's super cool. He was super down, and he just kind of rolled with it. He would book, I think, we got his back piece done in under like 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he stayed consistent.
Mhm.
Will you make them book multiple appointments or no?
I kind of left it up to him. I was like, well, when you're doing these pieces, it's a lot of money, and
Yeah.
you never know like how fast they're trying to do it, or
Yeah.
what they're trying to do, or what pace they're trying to move. But my client would book 2 appointments at a time. And then if I had any cancellations, I'd just call him in, and he'd pull up, and
Yeah.
we'd get to it.
You do a lot of back-to-back days too. So he'll
I'm
Yeah.
kind of leaning into like back-to-back days now, and
try and
I think that's the
finish.
way.
yeah. Well,
This
and then
year I
it's more
just started.
impressive, and
You
then
get a better picture.
yeah, you get a better picture.
It's true. It
And
is
then
No, but for me,
Instagram
like, you-
likes that.
Yeah,
shit.
you get so
Like,
much more done.
Yeah.
Like I kind of only do back-to-backs now because it's like you come in, a lot of it's like talking, formatting.
mhm.
Even if it's like 1 or 2 hours, to me that's still a long time
Yeah,
of your
Mhm.
session,
yeah,
right? And then we're like getting into it, and then the next day everything's figured out.
yeah.
my
Everything's
head's already
figured
in
out.
Yeah.
and you
piece.
just go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll get like 2.5,
Mhm.
sessions worth done compared to like if we break up.
yeah,
So I feel like it's more bang for your buck. Right?
yeah.
You do have to kind of be mentally invested though. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, accepting I'm about to get tattooed for 2 days straight or 3 days or
Right.
whatever, and
And-
just accept it.
And,
it.
you be like conscious of your client. We just actually filmed a 3-day back-to-back piece and like making sure like I would get in an area and then not come back to it. And like, use Bactine, encourage her to like get sleep, take anti-inflammatory if needed, eat breakfast before you come in, like feed them, like little things like that make such a difference. And I think people like look past, like they're so quick to think of like, do I need like heavier things? And it's like, no, you just need to eat. Sleep,
It's cool that clients nowadays are looking that type of stuff up. Like so many times clients will walk into the shop and they'll be like, hey man, I've been doing some research. I've been putting lotion on this for like 3 months.
Lots of water.
They're drinking lots of water and
preparing.
Coming through with big snack bags and all the
blankets.
They already know the deal.
Like, yo, grab that pillow and that blanket and the robe from the hotel.
Like, what were some things that you wish you could have told your client not to do before?
Do not be hungover. I'm just speaking from personal experience.
For us, it's like sunburnt.
Sunburnt. Oh, yeah.
Don't shave the night before. You're gonna get bumps.
Yeah.
That's a big one we get.
Yeah.
I already shaved. You're good. I'm like, tell dog.
Appreciate it. Ooh.
Like, did he use shaving cream?
No, hair bones are
sensitive.
Even for like inner arms, I'm like, please just don't shave. Like I'm not gonna be grossed out. Like, let me just do everything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Totally prepared.
I got pretty good at it. Like, I'm pretty cold with the razor now. You want me to line this shit up or fade it out?
We'll even tell people, because we do like laser hair removal here, where like if you don't want that, like just come in, get sessions, and then we'll run your tattoo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like that.
Yeah, smart.
'Cause I don't think you can do them once you have a tattoo.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then how did it evolve into the partnership with you guys?
So after we had worked together for some years, we both were kind of...
You saw the dove?
Do what?
You
I
saw
saw
the
that
dove?
dove. I saw the fucking dove. I was like, we got to get out of here.
I figured that was it. Yeah.
After I saw the dove, I...
Blown away.
I need a picture
blown
of
away.
this dog.
You're like, I can't let this guy.
This is wallpaper.
Y'all want to see this dove? Check this out. Check this
Watch it. You
out.
pulled it up really quick. Wait a second.
It's on his favorites.
Look
Look at
wallpaper.
dove. That's the one. That's the one. That was a game changer.
You're like
for me
this.
back then.
Shit.
Yeah.
The guy asked for an eagle.
Yeah.
I said no.
There you go. That's the one.
That was
Look at
like your first realization?
Yeah, on Pato. And then I saw that and I was like,
Dang.
dang,
Yeah.
I got it.
Things
Like,
are
I'm
starting to
good.
click.
Like,
So he and I had worked together for a few years or so, and we both had kind of reached the point where we were like, we were really interested in a work-life balance, because we knew that we were going to start having kids sooner than later. And he was married. I was with my long-term partner. And we had just kind of had a discussion, and we were both on the same page that we wanted to open up a private studio. And so we made that decision, and we went for it and opened it up in 2019. And after pretty soon in having the private studio, like he and I would stay booked, but people were reaching out like crazy, like, can we get tattooed, whatever. And we were like, fuck, we need to expand. Like,
and it was the private studio was like nice. It just sucked.
Easy.
Yeah,
it
was
was just really
easy.
easy. you
Yeah,
know?
those are like the easy times.
But there is something, I know it's like, it's popular currently for sure to open up a private studio. Now that we've experienced both, I genuinely, there is something about working in a shop with other tattooers where there's a lot of clients coming in. There's a
Energy.
energy,
when-
the buzzing, energy,
when
all
the
of
shop
that.
is popping and it's
Right.
buzzing and it's like
There is nothing that compares to that.
Yeah.
And there was a loneliness
Yeah, there's a
about
loneliness.
with just working, even though we were working together in a private studio, there was a loneliness. And
it
there
was like a
also was
tattoo trap house, man.
It was like being home.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was. But you have to work. Talk about
Put
like
the money in the hole.
Yeah.
And then give you the tax.
get that dove. But you have to work even harder to stay inspired if you have a private studio. You have to fight even more against the tendency to burn out or whatever. And so we realized pretty quickly, we were like, okay, the reasons that we opened up a private studio, we wanted a little bit more freedom with our time, but really at what cost? It wasn't as fulfilling. And I felt like I was not improving as much with my tattooing, just working in a private studio. So pretty quickly we had looked for the perfect spot, which took us a little over a year, but we found our new space. And we had a couple people that had reached out about wanting to tattoo with us. So they were kind of like ready from the jump as soon as we had opened up the new shop, and it just felt right again. Like, okay, cool. We're with a crew now. This is, you know, it's more, I'm fucking happier, like working. It's fun. It's more fun, but also just seeing other people tattooing is so important. I feel like.
So we do got a few questions.
Ooh,
Katie.
Questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Questions from Fritz.
All right. So first one is: do you prefer to make your own black and gray wash or pre-mixed?
I make my own. Yeah, I make.
What does
my
that look
own.
like?
I do dynamic, and I simplified my my drop system. But from when I first started tattooing, I remember everyone had like, let me get like a 1 drop, a 2 drop, a 4 drop, like a 6 drop, a 8 drop, 12, like half black. And now that I've been tattooing for a while, like I really just want black skin in a couple mid-tones. Like I don't really need a lot more than that. So now I do like 4 drops, like the lowest I go, just because I hate shit getting light and having to do touch-ups or anything. So then like I usually do like 4, 7, 13, half in black, and that's like my whole gray wash.
Nice.
My drop system. And I don't use a lot of white or anything. I've seen artists, you know, add like that, like, you know, turn their back and do like that 1 drop of white. Ink cap or whatever. And I tried it for a while. And now I'm just like, fuck it, man. I like the dynamic and water. But I like a simple thing, and a lot of it's just like whipping out that black and letting that go into that.
Sure. When you're using blacks, is it just straight black? Do you do any kind of system?
I use world famous lining black, and then they're shading black too, and I really, really like it. But no, I mean, because most of the stuff that I do is really tratty, I'm never really watering down black, and if I'm doing anything that's black and gray, then I am that person that's adding white to black and using opaque grays and stuff. And I like that look, and I feel like it works for me in the way in which I tattoo.
Sure. Nice. Who asked that question?
Thank you, Gunnar Leone.
What's up, Gunnar?
Mine's a little more complicated, so I'll say it slow for Gunnar. My breakdown is ultra black, black. All right, I can say it one more time if that's
When you had a private studio, what'd you do to get inspired?
Ooh, good question.
We were getting tattooed. Well,
yeah, that's when you went to go get your head tattooed in LA.
Can I see it?
yeah.
Ooh.
Shout out to my boy Cliff.
Damn.
We did back-to-back days.
2 days?
Yeah, well, it took 3 days.
Nice.
But we did the top and then both sides in one session. Then I flew back, and then we did the back.
Nice. I love how full it is.
Yeah.
Negative space, cool. How did you decide where to put the hairline? Did you have to redraw it a couple times?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. I had to look back at old pictures from when I had a haircut. I think I think I judged it off like this mole. I got like a bowl somewhere up here. And I was like,
You passed the mole, you've gone too far.
Yeah, you're like, I always kind of wanted a smaller.
yeah.
No, I'll raise it back up. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you, Katie? How'd you stay inspired?
So when we had the private studio, a chunk of that time I was pregnant and on maternity leave. So there was that, which was really crazy, like navigating through that and also tattooing.
I also
but
think we stayed motivated just by like a happy like work life.
we were so at that time we were so, and we still are, but we were so like, let's be happy at work and let's get like our time at home also like happy and figured out too. So that was like,
I was about to have my first kid and like going through all that.
yeah. So what was kind of driving us when we had the private studio is just creating more of a balance with work and life. But as far as like staying inspired tattoo wise, when we had the private studio, I did another thing with Ink Master. I'm like traveling and saying yes to any opportunities that present themselves. Like that.
A lot of like outside of the shop.
Yes, a lot of
inspiration.
outside of the shop stuff. Whereas when you're like working at a shop that has a lot of artists, you can get more inspiration from within the shop, you know. But really like a private studio, traveling, putting yourself out there, doing all of that, it's a must.
GED Customs with a K says, what are areas you guys hate to tattoo?
I fucking hate the stomach.
The stomach.
Yeah.
Oh, Chester, can you bring your mic a little closer?
I hate tattooing the stomach.
You
Aye.
just blacked out a belly button.
Yeah, I just
like a week
blacked out a
ago.
belly
Pour
button
ink in
the other
there?
day.
What'd
I
you-
didn't pour ink in there, but
That's that body cap.
yeah, I did. Just like
Yeah.
I got like some badass like ASMR videos.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
just, like,
Right.
fucking
In the background. Help.
yeah, yeah. Homies got tough though.
Yeah.
I hate tattooing the stomach, and probably like the most unpopular opinion for me is the upper arm. I hate upper arms. Like, I don't know if it's the angle from like tattooing a forearm like this to tattooing an upper arm like that, but I feel like upper arms take me so long.
I mean, for me, that's like a day and a half, 2 days.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
An upper arm.
Yeah.
An upper arm. And I used to try to shoot it in one, and
No.
I'd be like at the shop till like 2 a.m. and all that. And now like recently now I'm like that 2 sessions, like 1.5 at a minimum.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like, you're bringing all the way up to the shoulder cap, and then you're breaking the joint barrier, you know, so it like transitions well. Like, it's a huge area.
And then with like
huge.
black and gray, like everything has to like connect in a thoughtful way. So it's like, cool, I got to do this piece, I got to do this tattoo, and then I got to do like the connection, like I got to make that flow. That shit tough.
I feel like the fucking neck, the side of the neck.
The whole, any part of it.
God. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
If I
It's not that bad when your client does it.
Stop.
It's not that bad.
One of the artists at our shop, Amy, who is an incredible tattooer, I tattooed both sides of her neck within the last 6 months. And it's painful for the client, but it just takes a long fucking time.
And then it welts
it's-
up. Like,
Yeah.
is it welt
Like, I
or
don't
welt?
think you had all these wrinkles
welts
in your
is-
neck.
Yeah. But it immediately gets like raised and swollen.
It does. I'm really lucky that I'm mostly tattooing arms and legs, or maybe like chest or shoulder blade or whatever. So anytime I'm tattooing anything other than that, I feel like I'm a little bit out of practice.
Yeah.
So it just takes me fucking longer.
Right. And you almost want to just like strangle them to stretch it.
Yeah.
Especially the front. You're just like, you know? I'm like, today is going to suck for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're going to do our best as a team.
Yes, it is. It's
The next
teamwork,
route.
really.
The question is, when you use your reference photos, do you darken them up? I guess like increase contrast. So when it heals, it's a little lighter to compensate, I guess, for gray wash. How do you guys mess with your reference photos?
Well, for me, I do it just like whether I'm tattooing a fucking bear, like a tiger or whatever. I'm going in there and I don't try to do the most photorealistic tattoos. I think it's important to I like to still make it a fucking tattoo. Like, it needs skin, it needs black, and it needs some grays. So I go in there and I try to edit it in a way that's gonna simplify a lot of that and build that contrast.
Yeah.
But I do kind of edit the whole picture beforehand before I make my stencil.
Yeah.
And that tends to help a lot.
You always print yourself on paper. So
It would be
that
better if I use an iPad, but I'm
No,
not trying to deal with the
I hear
charger.
that's
True.
the other way, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like you're doing it
Yeah.
the correct way.
Yeah, I print it off on paper, and it like takes away a lot of those details.
Yeah.
Yeah, it simplifies like a lot of those shapes.
Some of them are unnecessary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of it.
true.
Are you ever messing with references or using references?
I mean, for me, since I mostly do color, I don't really have to worry about, I guess, something maybe like a gray wash healing light, but I use my iPad and I never really print anything. I think printing stuff off, from what I'm understanding, is really great for if you are doing something, if you're using a realistic reference or whatever to help simplify.
Yeah.
And also your iPad screen is like reflecting light and doing weird shit. And if you just have it printed off, it might be a more truer reference anyway. But I'm like tattooing basically stylized pet portraits where I'm kind of doing my thing anyway. I'm kind of looking at the reference,
Right.
like whatever. I'm kind of making it up as I go. So I'll have the picture of the dog like on my iPad, and I'm looking at it here and there, but I'm mostly like making up a lot of the detail in it. So it doesn't have to be like the most accurate, high contrast reference necessarily, because I'm just translating it into a tattoo in my mind anyway, making
Sure.
it more stylized.
I like you kind of moved away from having so many gradients for that exact reason. Like, that's why I like try to just use black because it heals very close. We're not seeing a lot of like lightening up.
Yeah.
But I just went to a seminar, actually, Black and Gray dude, where he was bumping the contrast so high on his images that I was like, I don't know if that's right. Amazing tattooer, way better than me, right? So it was very interesting to hear that he's doing that, and like he does mostly portraits, like really finding references that like one side of the face is only blacks and shadows,
Yeah.
the other is only midtones and highlights.
And
And
having
like
that.
bumping it up so much to really have enough black to like hold that piece forever.
That's kind of how I do a lot of my stuff. I try to find references with a lot of negative space.
Yeah.
And lots of negative space and just simple shapes. Like, so a lot of reference is real confusing. So like being able to pick a good reference and know what's going to translate.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
guys.
Thank
Love
everyone
being
for
here.
attending the live stream, and we will see you next week.